Good evening and welcome to the City of Wilmington's City Council meeting of July 2nd, 2020. This is the public comment portion of our meeting, and we have no public comments, no individuals who have signed up for public comment today. So we will begin promptly at 6:30 with the business agenda of tonight's meeting, promptly at 6:30. Thank you very much, and look forward and tune back in again at 6:30.
Just looking around here.
I think I'm here.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. See ya.
A Republican has filed let's see, the eight.
Councilman Walsh, can you hear us?
I can hear you whispering just a real little bit.
Make sure your volume is up on your device. How about now, Councilwoman?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, you're good.
Thank you. Zanzia?
Good evening and welcome to the City of Wilmington City Council business meeting of July 2nd, 2020. The meeting will please come to order. We will have the opening prayer by Ms. Andrea Queen.
In humility, gratitude, and great joy, we open our hearts, our eyes, our ears, our minds, as we meet to serve our city with the intent on doing good work, to use our resources wisely and well to represent all members of our community fairly, to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognize our responsibilities to the past and the future, and the rights and needs of both individuals and community. May our efforts be blessed with insight, guided by understanding and wisdom. As trusted servants, we seek guidance on our deliberations, and on our efforts, may we act wisely and well and strive to reach our higher potential.
At this time, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
I
allegiance
pledge allegiance
Flag.
to the flag
flag
of the United States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Present.
Councilman Congo,
Here.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Present.
Councilwoman Harley,
Present.
Councilman Turner,
Here.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Here.
Councilman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Creel,
Here.
Councilman Adams,
Here.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Here.
Councilman Guy,
Present.
Councilwoman Walsh,
Here,
President Shabazz,
Here.
13 present.
Reading of the minutes of our previous meeting.
June 18, 2020, City Council met in virtual regular session on the above date at 6:30 p.m. President Hanifa Shabazz presiding. The opening prayer was done by Andrea Queen, Deputy Clerk. The Pledge of Allegiance was recited by City Council. The following members responded to the call of the roll. Council members Gray, Congo, Oliver, Harley, Turner, McCoy, Johnson, Friel, Adams, Dixon, Guy, and Walsh, and Council President Shabazz for a total of 13.
Move the minutes be accepted as written.
second,
It's been properly moved to second. The minutes be accepted as written. On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. City Treasurer's Report.
Total investment, $319,944,836.93. Total cash on hand, $18,217,903.46. Grand total, $338,162,740.39. Belder Jones Potter, City Treasurer.
Move the treasurer's report, receive, record, and file. Adopted by unanimous vote.
second,
It's been properly moved and second. The report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I accept the motion to move and to accept all non-legislative business.
so moved.
It's been moved and second to accept all non-legislative business. On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. There are not any non-legislative presentations for this evening. So move on to the legislative business agenda. Any council member, any council in legislation tonight, Councilwoman Gray?
None, Madam President.
Any legislation, Councilmember Congo?
Nothing tonight, Madam President. Thank you.
Any legislation, Councilmember Oliver?
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Any legislation, Councilmember Harley?
No legislation tonight, thank you.
Any legislation tonight, Councilman Turner?
No legislation tonight, Madam Chair.
Any legislation tonight, Councilwoman McCoy?
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Any legislation tonight, Councilmember Johnson?
I have nothing tonight, Madam President.
Any legislation tonight, Councilmember Friel?
None, thank you.
Any legislation, Councilmember Adams?
No, Madam President, thank you.
Councilmember Dixon, legislation tonight?
Yes, Madam President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 20046, Agenda 4836. Whereas the first enslaved Africans were brought to America as captives to what is now the Commonwealth of Virginia in 1619. And whereas Black people were brought as slave labor for nearly 250 years and suffered unspeakable acts of violence, including assault, rape, mutilation, and murder at the hands of their captors. And whereas even at the founding of Wilmington, Delaware, and by no accident, many Africans were brought
Madam President, I move that this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea, nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved to second. The resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea, nay vote on the question.
Yes, Madam President. This resolution, it provides examples of the City of Wilmington's history of racially motivated violence against Blacks and Sikhs, to conceptualize that the city's own history that we've had in acts of violence here with the police, and then also of its own Black citizens. The resolution solidifies and pledges that the City Council will keep this revolving history of pain and healing at the forefront of our minds, as we are a legislative body that seeks to find solutions to preserve life and acknowledges input from citizens and groups who agree that Black life in the City of Wilmington should be acknowledged as an extension of city's history, as well as motivation for a better city, a better community for everyone who lives, works, plays here going forward.
Councilmember Gray?
Yes, I'd like to point out that I'm supporting this. I made a statement about resolutions, but this resolution does more than just ask for action. It really gives us a history lesson. It brings to attention, like she said, what Councilwoman Dixon said, everything that's happened in Wilmington and other places. And I think a lot of us don't remember it. A lot of us young never lived it. So I think this is excellent, not only as a resolution, maybe we can move it forward as an ordinance later, but definitely as a history lesson. Thank you.
Councilmember Johnson?
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Dixon. I support this legislation as well. We've had this talks before about, taking action, and the important step is always is framing the problem. And I struggle with how to best do that, but I think it's framing the problem, looking at history, and then us failing a path forward. That's what we need to do as a city council. So in tandem with, I think, the rest of the reform initiatives in which we're all working towards, I think this is a positive first step, again, to show the public that city council cares. So I appreciate it, and I look forward to working to make sure we're a more just city. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Harley?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I want to say also to Council Member Dixon, thank you for sponsoring the legislation. I am happy to be a co-sponsor on it as well. And I just wanted to mention to everyone that if you go down to the peninsula off of 7th Street, they actually have a little sign down there with Anthony's name on it. And if you go over to the Swedes, the Swedes have a little museum over off of, I guess that's going into Wilmington, is DuPont Highway, going into Wilmington across from ShopRite. They have a little museum over there, and it has a little bit of history about Anthony as well, which is mentioned in the legislation. So I just wanted to point that out, the peninsula off of 7th Street, all the way down to the end, and then the museum across from ShopRite. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Guy?
Yes, Madam President. The names of Albert Butler and Jeremy McDowell have to be stated on this council floor in connection with a conversation of this nature. And so I support this resolution. And for basically 4 years, as one of my colleagues mentioned, as far as doing something, having ordinances versus resolutions. This organization dropped the ball because the Judiciary Committee is what prior councils had to actually address all of these things that are now in resolutions post George Floyd that this council could have been dealing with for the 3 years prior to, but we left the residents of Wilmington hanging on their own with nowhere to come for city council. So there's a lot of blood on the hands of Wilmington City Council. And this isn't gonna erase that blood, but some people, in some sense, when this vote is taken, may have to reflect on when it was actually time to do something on multiple occasions. We didn't address having the contents of police manuals available to us to make available to the public. We spent 3 years and blocked that. And then all of a sudden, because something happens in Minnesota, now all of a sudden the mayor and the chief and the law department and whoever else they have carrying documents for them, folks want to switch things around, and Judiciary Committee and all of those types of issues. The legislation that Councilman Congo and Councilman Turner put in months ago to get body cameras, and there's people holding those up purposefully, and maybe even for personal political gain. We will see. So these are the problems why the people of Wilmington are suffering. So I like this resolution, and hopefully folks will reflect on what they had an opportunity to do that wasn't done. And I guess if the people who bought Wilmington years ago say no to certain things, then it's no to certain things. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Seeing no other comments from members of council, are there any comments from the public? Seeing none and no further comments from members of council, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilman Turner,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Friel,
Yes.
Councilman Adams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Yes.
Councilman Guy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh,
Yes.
President Shabazz,
Yes,
13 yeas.
declared adopted. Councilman Guy, legislation tonight, sir?
Yes, Madam President, I have an ordinance to introduce for first and second reading.
Ordinance 20033, Agenda 4837, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code prohibiting the use of neck restraints.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code prohibiting the use of neck restraints.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Yes, Madam President, I make a motion to refer that ordinance to the Health and Aging Committee.
So that should be the Public Safety Committee.
I said I made a motion to refer it to the Health and Aging Committee. So the first thing is whether it gets a second.
Oh.
Second.
Not-
Second.
I second it too.
I just wanted to be noted that it is, legislation should go to the proper committee, but it's been properly moved to second that be known as the first, it has not been properly moved to second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance referred to Public Safety Committee.
No, that's not my motion.
It's been, excuse me.
You don't, no, we made
I
a
made a
motion.
mistake, sir. I made a mistake, excuse me. It's been properly moved and second that we know the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Health and Disability Committee.
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am.
just want to make a note to Councilman Guy, the public safety agenda notice went out and that particular piece is on there.
I'm saying that's the committee where racism does not allow things that benefit the community to get out. So I've made my motion. I'd like.
You can't let it go.
Just noted. Just noted. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Councilman Walsh, any legislation?
Did
No,
you
not this
defer,
evening.
Madam
Thank you.
President?
Thank you. We now move to petitions and communications. Councilwoman Gray.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I've had some of my district's citizens come to me and ask for me to reinforce for people to wear their masks. I know if you're outside walking or if you're bicycling or exercising, that it's not mandatory to wear your mask. But frequently what's happening is that you run into someone you know, you start a conversation, and you're not really thinking about distancing. So carry your mask with you, even if you're not wearing it, so that if you want to engage in a conversation or decide to stop someplace, you'll have it with you and you can put it on. This is serious. Our numbers have gone up downstate, Sussex, they know why. They've even had to roll back in some zip codes. So I'm just asking everyone to be diligent, to wear their masks and to distance. Thank you.
Councilman Congo.
Yes, Madam President, thank you. Just want to let everyone know there will be another food drive coming up this month. We'll have the exact date probably within a couple of days. But several of us on council, Councilman Guy, Councilman Turner, myself, City Treasurer Velda Walsh.
Velda Walsh.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
I
Velda
like that.
Thank you. Ms. Velda Potter Jones, plus some members from the public, owner of Silver Brook Cemetery, Paul White. We have all been a part of several food drives that we fed over 10,000 people so far in the city. I just want to thank everyone who has been a part of it, and we're going to have another one in a couple of weeks, but that date will be announced shortly. Also, there was a press release that went out a couple of days ago regarding body cameras, and it mentioned that those city council members who would agree to that, to what that press release was speaking to, but I know I wasn't contacted about that. I'm not sure if all council members were. So I would like that to be addressed by you, Council President, if you would, during your moment. Just trying to figure out why I wasn't contacted. Councilman Turner and I have been, and other council members have been talking about body cameras since last year. I'm not sure if he was if he was contacted or not, but I know I wasn't. So I just would like that addressed publicly so the public can know. Thank you very much.
Councilwoman Oliver.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'd just like to thank. I'd just like to. I'd like to thank Councilwoman Loretta Walsh, Michelle Harley, and Council President for assisting me with all of us on the north side giving out at least 10,000 masks. And also, we are also having a collective food drive with the help of Loretta, Michelle Harley, and Hanifa on the north side. And we're just waiting for 2 people to contact us back over in Pricey's Park area. So I'd like to thank all of you for all your hard work and assisting with this large project. And we're looking to also feed over 10,000 people. So it takes a village, so a lot of people are doing a lot of things. And repeating a lot of things, but it's different sides of towns and everybody can use the same type of help with the COVID-19. And I like to reiterate what one of my colleagues said. I think it's important that we all wear our masks. It's very important. Like I said, I think y'all did something, Michelle, and I think y'all did something over to the barbershop, and y'all was going to other barbershops giving out masks. I mean, along with the proclamation, but I know y'all were giving out masks. And so I'd really like to reiterate to Loretta, we were out having lunch, and I don't know how many people came up to us in town, and it's like she's a hero. All the work she's done over the 40 years of work on city council, and I respect her, and I thank her for her leadership. So Loretta, thank you for the contact for the people that's going to donate the food, and I appreciate you much. And that's all I had to say tonight. Thank you.
Councilwoman Harley.
Oh, yes, Council President. I have a couple announcements. First of all, on tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I'm going to be on a Zoom call with high school seniors and college, those that are in college. I sent out a Zoom link to several of the students that I gave scholarships to, because a lot of times we give out the scholarships and we do not engage with the students that we give money to. And I would like to know, what they're majoring in, what do they plan on doing with their degrees? And most of all, are they thinking about coming back to our city to volunteer or to get involved, since we are supporting them in going to college? So that's tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And any student that specifically that lives in the 4th district that want to be on that call, they can reach out to me on my phone number. And my phone number is 519-5974. Secondly, I want to just mention that there will be no July 4th fireworks at the riverfront due to the uptick in the COVID numbers and results that have been coming out. There will be no fireworks sponsored by the City of Wilmington. And then lastly, I would like to announce that there will be free COVID testing at Herman Holloway Park on Saturday, July the 18th from 12 to 3. And I want to just encourage everyone to know your COVID-19 status. Even if you don't have any symptoms. It's a very quick test. The test that they are using now is the swab. It takes 5 to 10 minutes. So the Newcastle County, they have a list of locations where you can go and get free testing. So you can go to their website to check out the testings, or you can call 395-3450 to find out more information. And again, we just want everyone to be aware of the crowds, not being around too many people, wash your hands, wear your mask, and just remember we're still in the pandemic. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilmember Turner. Councilmember Turner. Councilmember Turner.
Not there.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Madam President. I actually just wanted to let people know in the 6th district that there will be testing coming again. It will be on July 8th. It will take place at Canby Park. The spot will be on Oak and South Scott Street. The time frame will be from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. So as my colleague stated, it's good to make certain you know what your status is. So please come out if you would like to get tested. It will be on Wednesday, July 8th at Canby Park, Oak and South Scott Street between 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Also, I would like to repeat, please wear your mask. I'm seeing many people, who are still feeling a little bit more relaxed about what's going on, and we are definitely seeing an uptick. When it comes to fireworks, I have gotten many emails text messages, Facebook messages, and posts about the fireworks that are actually taking place here within the city. I did try to go out. I actually did go out on Saturday and just throughout the neighborhood and pass out information basically about fireworks safety, and also to make people aware that anything that is actually aerial, any fireworks that fly in the air is still actually illegal here within the state, I believe, but I know definitely in the city. And so we are asking people to be safe, to use precaution, make certain that our children actually know the rules, that actually making certain that they read the instructions before handing anything off. We want our children to enjoy whatever break or holiday, I guess, that is coming forward. But we only have a few more days left of fireworks, I pray. And I just ask everyone to please refrain from discharging after 10 p.m. That is my request. So enjoy your weekend and please be safe.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, I would just like to thank the organizers of the UPG Pride event this past weekend. It was a wonderful event celebrating the diversity of not only our city, but our state in general. Especially thank Ms. Troy and her crew for really just providing some good laughs during these times. And we can't forget in the talk about the struggle of racial, injustice, that there's the intersectionality of the trans LGBTQ community and the struggles they go through. So we certainly hope to do more events like this in Wilmington, not only on the west side, but throughout. So thank you for all those who attended. And last but not least, there is a public safety meeting coming up this upcoming July 6th. It's at 5 p.m. It is a fairly packed agenda, just to be upfront. We're discussing a lot of many much needed items. And there also will be time to discuss just general state of things. Things that aren't on the agenda. So, we really are, again, trying to press the envelope. We feel the urgency on council and the leadership of the Public Safety Committee. We are committed to fairness and justice. I believe both me and Chairwoman Walsh, we strive to do that. So we welcome all those to attend. Please voice your opinions. Please be here to support this movement because there will be a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of forces already fighting us with a lot of these initiatives. So please come out on Monday, July 6th at 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Friel.
Yes, Madam President, I know all our communities have been inundated with construction projects, whether Delmarva, water utility, or just paving of roads. But I did want to announce 2 more that are going to start on Monday. These are kind of pedestrian improvement projects. One is going to be at the intersection of North Van Buren Street and South Park Drive, right there at the Van Buren Street Bridge. That will be starting this Monday, and that will take several months. And the other project is up on Miller Road from Lee Boulevard down to 32nd Street. There won't really be any road closures, but those will be restrictions and flaggers. And like I said, both projects will take several months. So I just wanted to alert those communities that they were coming starting Monday, along with all the other work that's taking place. Thank you.
Councilmember Adams.
Yes, thank you, Council President. Yes, I have really 2 grave concerns. The first one seems to be the penchant to just go out and destroy things as far as history is concerned. We've gone from tearing down statues to tearing down things such as Christopher Columbus, Ulysses S. Grant, and Abraham Lincoln. Those individuals and other individuals have absolutely nothing to do with Confederacy or those other things that may have been brought to our attention in the recent future. However, to just be destructible, to have this totalitarian attitude to erase history, I really think is a concern. And we need to back up and look at what we're trying to do with those things and really respect. Because remember, you can't get to 1619 unless you recognize who discovered America in 1492. And I just think we also have to recognize things like that and understand history and not display ignorance about it. Remember, you know, it was Ulysses S. Grant that ordered General Granger into Galveston, Texas, to tell everybody on Juneteenth that, hey, they are now free from slavery. So don't forget who gave that order about emancipation. And it was Abraham Lincoln. That was the president that wrote the Emancipation Proclamation. So, wow, what's going on out there is really sad to me, and just a display of ignorance. And we all got to back up and understand, hey, some things still need to be stand there, and things need to be understood by a society as a whole. The second thing that gives me grave concern is the confusion many times from what Black lives are really important from the radical left group of Black Lives Matter. There has to be a distinction there, okay? We all understand that racism is an issue, okay, but it's not the issue in the Black community. But if you have a radical left-wing group that says that they want to do away, okay, with the prescribed Western requirement for a nuclear family, I know that most of society, whether you're Black, brown, white, whatever, okay, doesn't truly believe that a nuclear family is important. And that may very well be the genesis of many problems here. And so we need to assure that we do not confuse those two things of Black lives and also a radical group called Black Lives Matter, because the farther they go down the road with this agenda and people supporting it, quite frankly, I think that we're worse off than we would be where we were before this George Floyd incident and other things. And I think that that's truly important that we separate the thing. And please, don't lose the irony in this from what Martin Luther King said. Quote, I have a dream that my 4 young children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character, unquote. And we just seem to be making a lot of emphasis here between Black, brown, white, yellow, and any other color there may be, okay, which strikes me as quite ironic that his view and his approach was entirely different from that. Thank you.
Councilman Dixon.
I think I've had a follow up from Councilman Adam. I guess I would echo the sentiments of my colleagues earlier discussing that the importance of wearing a mask and that COVID is still prevalent in the city of Wilmington. I do want to thank Dr. Hicks from Christiana Care for coming to our Health, Aging, and Disabilities Committee meeting last week and giving us the data and information and statistics regarding the city of Wilmington. And again, was actually pretty shocking around the fact that we still haven't gone really past 3 days without another spike in the city regarding our COVID numbers. So please, please, please take care of yourself while you're out here. I know we want to get back to reintegrating into the society as far as our businesses and entertainment and all other spaces, but just keeping in mind all of the that the effects of COVID is still out here and that we still need to work through that process. In that, I know announcement will be coming out soon, but I know because it passed through City Council, so I just wanted to make mention of it here. Place has been postponed for now until our numbers come down because because COVID is high in a lot of the areas that we typically do play streets in. like Riverside and Southbridge, because their numbers are so high. Christiana Care, who funds the program, has said that based off of what Dr. Hicks said in our meeting, and afterwards, the placements will have to be on postponed until numbers get more decline in the city. So I just wanted to make that announcement here so everyone knows. I know we want to do different activities still outside and recreational wise, and we can find some other ways to do that. Parks and Recreation will be accepting, as well as Christiana, ideas around how to still support health and recreation within the city. So they're asking our proposals come to them where we could still do something. So I just wanted to make that note, as I know that something will be coming out in joint from Christiana Care and Parks and Recreation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Guy.
Yes, Madam President. Wow, I heard some interesting things during this meeting. And, you know, right now, our society is, in a sense, recognizing what a lot of people have known for years, that there's major problems in this country that relate to racism and white supremacy and people in the Black community that sell out the Black community to white supremacists and to racists. And so a lot of the damage in the Black community is actually imposed by people assisting in maintaining systems of white supremacy. And as far as I'm concerned, as I've traveled all around this country year after year after year and interact with people, that actually is one of the principal problems that faces this country, and in particular in the state of Delaware. If the whole country knew how Wilmington, Delaware operates, how white supremacists and people who practice racism are strategically placed with the assistance of Black people that assist them in oppressing the Black community. Delaware is probably one of the top places in effectively doing that. And that's why we're ahead in some areas and behind in others. As we sat here tonight, there were some interesting phrases that I heard. I heard there was a reference to 1492, somebody discovered America. That in and of itself are the things that everybody in the whole country are recognizing, that it's not appropriate to say that America was discovered. That's a Eurocentric white supremacist point of view, because there were already people here of color before 1492. And so there's going to be a point in time, there's people tearing down statues because of people making those same kind of statements and teaching it to kids. It's a terrible thing to do, to put that narrative out there as if the people of color who already existed here don't count as people. There was another statement made about the Western view about family. Well, everybody in the United States of America aren't from what's described as the Western viewpoint. So there's different viewpoints that all have to be respected. But what white supremacy and racism does is basically says that the only legitimate point of view is the Eurocentric Western point of view. So these are the things that people are fighting about. And we're still on a Wilmington City Council where we're still having those kind of statements made in this current environment. It's amazing. And so, you know, I really, another point, there was a statement made about a radical group called Black Lives Matter. Now, it's good that these meetings are videotaped because all of the, like everybody in the country basically recognize that Black Lives Matter, at least temporarily. Hopefully this is a permanent change to some degree, but time will tell. Because a lot of the things that go on now should have been straightened out in the 60s, and people just reverted back to the systematic mechanisms of white supremacy, racism, and purchasing sellouts to operate in the Black community on behalf of those institutions and orientations. So I guess it's a new day. People are trying to have a new day in this state and in this country, but on this city council, it appears that there's a fight to maintain the status quo. Now, Joe Biden has to recognize when he publicly says he's for body cameras, he's going to have to step into Wilmington at some point in time, because
20 seconds, Mr. Guy.
okay, because he has a role here, because the people are his colleagues that are practicing the white supremacy and the racism. Those are his colleagues, close friends, doing what they do, operating in Wilmington. So he's going to have to help straighten this out. And so public, we are going to have body cameras. That I can assure you.
Mr. Guy.
That's all I have. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Walsh.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple things. Yeah, when it comes to the fireworks, this has become a national issue now, besides it just being a local issue. And the way part of it started was there was also a huge theft from a fireworks company right outside of Chester. And they believe a lot of the perpetrators came from down here. And that's how it started, but that's not the way it's continued. This has been going on for over 3 weeks now. And like all petty crime in the city of Wilmington, if somebody would just come forward saying, I saw those individuals run into this house, or I saw them jump into this car, and give a plate number, a house number, or something to identify where the folks are, so we can get these fireworks confiscated too, if nothing else. So if people could come forward, that would be a big relief for many, many neighborhoods. The press release concerning body cams or any other issue in the city of Wilmington, it is called a press release. It goes to the press. TV stations, TV stations, radio stations, print, and all of the other places that get it, including every council member. It's a courtesy copy that is sent out by whomever is doing the press release. We all get it. I've checked them many, many times. Every single council member is on it. If you don't have a correct email down for yourself, that's hardly anybody else's fault. It's your own fault. But every single person gets one on this council. Councilmember Oliver addressed the food giveaway at Price's Park. And I just hope that everybody has a very safe 4th of July. Please keep your mask on and please keep distancing when you're outside. But have a safe and happy 4th of July. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Just a few comments that we know that we're about to enter into a long weekend, and We hope that everyone enjoys the beautiful weather. It's supposed to be a hot one this weekend, so please make sure that you're checking on your seniors and your shut-ins. There's many different reasons and ways that people plan to celebrate this long weekend. I just ask that everyone do it safely. I think you've heard from everyone the importance of wearing the face mask and social distancing. We want to continue to keep Wilmington and our surrounding areas and families safe. We also heard about the fireworks, and the concern really is not just the celebratory activity of it, but also the effects of how it affects those people who have other types of illness. Our seniors, to shock our seniors with that noise is not healthy for them. You have individuals who are veterans who've come back, it reminds them of times of war. So we understand your wanting to do it within the law, which ones that are illegal, legal within the city, you understand setting them off, but the other ones, that the bombs and the things that are not legal, we caution you to please be conscious of your surrounding areas and how this affects others. Again, this heat wave is coming, so please watch your seniors and your disabled to make sure they have water, access to fans, and that they have some safe shelter. And assist if individuals need assistance right now, please refer them to 211 so that they can call to get the necessary assistance that they need. And Councilwoman Harley, yes, I do know of the marking of the Antoine and his be the first one who came over with the Swedes, who was not an enslaved individual. He was a free man when he came over, and I was instrumental in putting that up. So yes, there is a lot of great history, and I know that we are planning to indicate and highlight even more history of contributions that African Americans have made here in the nation. So with that, everyone, enjoy your long weekend, and with that, I accept the motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. Thank you.
And you too.
Thank you, Maribel
Thanks.
and staff.
Take care.
Thank you.